Okay, we got some big stuff happening today, and I'll catch you up to date here. Let's jump right in. Thanks for liking these videos. Here we go. Okay, first up, President Joe Biden, and let me think about this. Third in line, if second in line would be, or first in line would be the Vice President, Kamala Harris. Second in line would be Kevin McCarthy, Republican, actually, is going to be meeting here today. Yeah, that's right. Over the debt ceiling. Yeah, if that's not a big enough deal here, it's getting bigger and bigger here by the day. With Democrats showing no signs of giving ground and Republicans still not agreed on their own spending cuts. Any agreement to negotiate would feel like a win. So they're going to be meeting here today, and Republicans don't even know what they want to cut, but they have almost all the senators in the Senate, except for Mitch McConnell and two other senators, sent a letter to the White House and to Biden saying that they're not going to pass anything and not raise the debt limit without cuts, but they don't know what they want to cut. So they did say though that they're not going to cut Social Security and Medicare. The problem with that is that Social Security and Medicare and the military make up about 2/3 of all the budget or a little bit over 2/3 of the budget. I'd have to see the numbers right here in front of me of the 1.6, $1.7 trillion budget. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And if you've seen my recent video on Social Security with the chairman or the previous chairman who just kind of moved up to a higher position of this, who was in charge of Social Security from the Republicans, he actually gives a very, very good speech on the House floor about the crisis of how much debt our country's in and how much money they're spending. And a lot of people ask me the question or ask in the comment section why Social Security's got its own trust fund. Why is this even a concern? And he kind of answers that. He answers money about foreign spending. He asks money, I get a lot of questions in the comment section. Well, why don't they just cut Congress's salary and use that? Why don't they just use the money for that they're sending to other countries? He literally answers all those questions. It's a really, really good video. And it shows how much money they're spending and sending on a yearly basis and interest and everything. Really, really good video. Explains how in debt our country is going here. It really is kind of eye opening. I was actually in shock here, and that's why I like not being part of either party because I just like to look at things from a realistic point of view, and I love hearing numbers because numbers don't lie unless they're lying about the numbers, right? So when you hear numbers, and a lot of people are like, we pay into Social Security, and trust me, I get it because I pay into Social Security. Every time you make money, you're paying into Social Security, and the problem is, well, I'll link you to the video here at the end of this video so you can watch. It's a really, really, really good video. I had a lot of good comments on that video. But the problem is that Social Security is going to run out of money in 10 years by the Congressional Budget Office. The CBO is the most recent report here, and that's right around the corner. I mean, that figure's been going down and down and down, and with the most recent inflation report and the Social Security got the 8.7% increase, something's going to have to be done. Nobody wants to cut Social Security. And don't get me wrong, I understand why. And then remember that 50% of people retire with no savings at all. They go their whole lives and don't save anything. So this is kind of a problem. And remember that a lot of people can barely even survive on just Social Security. So it's really a problem because Social Security is not enough to even survive on. So how can we cut Social Security? So yeah, so then kind of the other things are like, what do we do? Do we raise taxes? Who do we raise taxes on? How do we raise taxes? Yeah, and now the Republicans are pretty much saying in the House and the Senate that they're not going to raise the debt limit ceiling unless there's cuts. But what are they going to cut? So this is kind of a big thing right now because we don't know what they want to cut, but they're saying they're not going to raise the debt limit until they have significant cuts. So the countries kind of, or at least people that are paying attention to this, are kind of like, well, we're kind of on pins and needles here because it's a really big thing. We've already passed the debt limit, the $31.4 trillion for our country. So what this means is that the country cannot print any more money, and the government cannot borrow any more money. So we're basically exhausting what's in the government checking accounts at this point, and it's going down. Look, every single day it's going down, 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 because we run a government deficit, and we're expected to run out of the money at the beginning of June, which is about 100 days away or so at this point. So it's getting closer and closer and closer by the day. And I'll show you the headlines here. Here's a headline from Barron's. It's actually from today, actually. Your Social Security check is at risk if the U.S. defaults. So they're saying that because the problem is if the U.S. defaults, it means there's no money left, and this is a big issue. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP money, um, any money that comes from the government interest, government bonds, government paychecks, anybody that works for the government, the stock market, everything, everything. So all this is at risk right now, and the problem is that the Republicans and Democrats are not anywhere even close to making a deal. That's a significant problem because Republicans don't even know what they want to negotiate on. They haven't even, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, put out your list of demands, basically, the list of what you want to cut. And Republicans haven't even come up with it yet. So imagine how long this is going to take, because we don't know. And honestly, after hearing that Republican congressman talk about how dire our finances are in our country, I kind of agree with him. They need to cut something. All the wasteful spending that you hear Republicans and Democrats talk about. The question is, what's wasteful spending? Yeah, so that's kind of a hard thing. And, a lot of times you'll hear people say, oh, the salaries of Congress. Well, we know they're not going to work for free. Nobody's going to work for free. Cut that. Oh, money for foreign aids, foreign countries. Some people would say that. But on the other hand, you also can't have Putin win the war. He's basically like Hitler 2.0, because if you send that message to him, then what? That's a tough situation there as well. You guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. After all this, if you just let him win at the end, basically just take over the country and put all those people into who knows what kind of living conditions, seems like imagine what those people's lives will be like. I mean, they've literally been fighting him for over a year, almost a year now. Yeah, basically a year. Imagine the message that sends to those people and to him, that he could basically just take over countries and do whatever he wants. He's already did it to Crimea. And remember, the U.S. isn't the only country supporting him. I mean, basically, most of Europe is, other countries. The U.S. has done the most, though. But you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. But even so, if you watch that video, they talk about if they cut all the foreign aid to every country that there is, and U.S. has been doing this for a while, it's a tiny fraction of what we spend on a yearly basis. And then the other major thing happening here today is the Fed meeting. The Fed meeting. And you can see the headline here. Wharton business professor Jeremy Siegel warns the Dow Jones stock index could drop 1,000 points immediately if the Fed goes too big with its next rate hike coming today. And remember, this affects people's pensions, people's 401ks, people's retirement funds, people's IRAs, and people's jobs too. When the stock market drops, people get laid off. The first thing that a lot of companies do is they start cutting jobs. The next recession, a lot of people think we're in a recession right now, and it could get worse, and they keep raising interest rates. And today's Fed meeting is particularly of one of the highest anticipated Fed rates, the first of this year, and it's going to be a big one. Are they going to raise interest rates? How much are they going to raise interest rates? Is it going to be a big one? Is it going to be a small one? And not even just that, is what are they going to tell us going forward? Because this is going to be really big, because are they going to say, all right, we're going to just do this last interest rate hike, we're going to pause after this, or are we going to do multiple more? And what is Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, going to tell us? Because what his sentiment is going to be the key here. Because remember, every time he raises interest rates, and remember, he has a board of directors, Fed presidents around the country vote on this. It's not really just him. He doesn't get to make the decision for the whole country. They all vote on it and then come up with the decision. So it's not really just this one crazy guy out there that gets to do this, that affects pretty much everybody's lives in the country, including the government. So remember, the government that has $31.4 trillion in debt, most of it which has interest on it. You think about like treasury bonds and interest that needs to be paid back and stuff like that. That has interest to it, and when interest goes up, the government has to pay interest on it. So like we think about like mortgage rates have gone from at the beginning of 2022 last year, they went from under 3% to over 7%. Okay. And now they're talking about raising interest again, interest rates. Remember, credit card interest rates went up by like, some credit card rates went up by like 5% last year in your credit cards. Pay attention to this. If you've got a credit card, you should be watching your interest rates. Your credit card interest rate may have went up by 5% last year. Again, pretty significant. Yeah, so credit card interest rates are at the highest ever and could go up again here. Credit card interest rates can raise your interest rate anytime. They could raise them every month if they want to. And particularly, they raise them after the Fed raises interest rates. Okay, so if the Fed raises interest rates, typically banks raise interest rates and credit cards raise interest rates because credit cards come from banks. Okay, so if the Fed raises interest rates here again today, or how much they raise it, your credit card interest rates could go up. Your bank loans could go up. Your personal loans could go up if they're not fixed. If you're looking to buy a new home at some point in the near future, that rate will now be higher. If you're looking to buy a new car, if you're looking to lease a new car, if you're looking to buy a used car, uh, any of those loans are going to be higher. And even more, maybe more importantly, it depends on how you look at this, is are they going to continue raising rates for 2023? Because that's maybe even the worser of the two things. Yeah, we've raised rates a lot here, but what is the forward-looking outlook going to be? Are they going to raise rates multiple times more in 2023? Or is this going to be the last one and then we're going to pause? We're going to stop. So that could be a good sign. And if they say that, we could see the stock market rise significantly. If they say no, if we see a big interest rate hike, and then they also say we're going to keep pushing interest rates higher until we really see inflation come down, because we have seen the Fed say that. If they say that again here today, then we could see the stock market plummet today. So it really could go either way. They could say, you know what, we've seen inflation come down a lot. We're gonna raise them today a little bit, and we're gonna pause after today. Or they could say, you know what, we really don't want to make this mistake again, and we want to just keep pounding away until inflation really goes down. It's gonna hurt now, but you'll thank us in a year from now. I don't know. You guys can let me know your thoughts. We'll see. And I'll keep you up to date here. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. What do you think the Fed is going to do? And maybe if you're watching in the future, we already know, but we'll see here, and I'll keep you up to date here. So if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. And I'll keep you up to date here with everything. Click the bell icon after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in at those times for new videos here every day. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here is that video from the congressman basically telling us about Social Security, how to fix it, and how much money we spend. Very good details there. And here's a video including actually former President Donald Trump with a massive warning about well, basically World War III. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video.